All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Above and Beyond Accessibility and Inclusion podcast for Monday, May the, what is it, May the 8th? May the 8th. It
May
is
8th.
time to go. Maddie and I have been away for the last few weeks. We have missed you, and now we're back, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Maddie, how are you?
I love spring because I can go pretty well anywhere. I love it when it rains. I love it when it doesn't rain. I love the flowers blooming. I love the sound of the birds. And I'm glad that snow's gone. So, yeah, I find this is an invigorating time for me. And I start going out and hitting the thing that I don't like about spring, which is all of the new potholes that I'm going to have to be navigating around for the rest of the summer.
Well, we all know, Maddie, that in Canada there are two seasons, winter and
Yeah.
construction. So, and
Yep.
speaking of construction, you and I over the last few weeks, few months, started building a relationship with the city of Toronto.
Yep. It was really good to be invited and be asked, and not just like a one-time thing. It's
Hmm.
an ongoing process as they're really becoming more conscious of the effect that um, different things that the city is either responsible for or is connected to, how those things, especially construction, how they can affect people with disabilities, and how to mitigate those things. So being asked not just once, but several times on an ongoing basis, building a relationship with them helps build more of an understanding. And I think it's gonna have really good medium and long term effects. And some short term ones, but I think it's one of those things that uh, it's a mindset shift, and that's happening, but that takes a little bit of time to flow through all of the different things that the city does. But it's a huge change.
Absolutely, and it feels good to be asked with our expertise. And as you alluded to, Maddie, it's not just a one-time thing. We've met with them twice now, and there's a third meeting on the go, and
Yeah.
and our voice is actually listened to, and that's refreshing for a change
Mhm.
because they really feel that it's pertinent and so important that have our voices there at the table, at the forefront of the conversation, rather than being considered as an afterthought. They really want to get it done now, and they really want to get it done
Yeah.
the right way. And you and I, along with many other colleagues in the disabled community, have been there, having our
Mhm.
voices listened to. It's been kind of awesome.
Yeah. It's and it's not just looking at mobility difficulties. It's looking at you know inclusion issues for those who are blind, those who are deaf, the hidden disabilities. So it's a really good approach to um, engage us. So like we say this a lot, but the mantra that we have as a disability community is nothing about us without us. So being involved at the table before things happen, as well as while things are happening, is it's game changing, and it's really honestly the way that other cities, other municipalities, other organizations should do. Hear us, listen to us, especially if you're doing things for us. Because I swear that once you've had that conversation with us, you're going to be led down a path that's going to actually support us in the way that we need it, instead of having
Absolutely,
to
and
come back to us later after you've done this magnificent thing for us, and we say,
what did we go
but we
wrong?
can't
What did we
use
go
it. Looks
wrong?
lovely and beautiful and lovely and magic and sparkles, but we
I
can't get onto it. Sorry. It's like start again.
yeah. Uh-oh. Invest more
Yeah,
money into it, and then they'll just
probably
forget
won't.
about it, and then nothing gets done well, because we should be
Yeah,
uh, privileged and privileged to what we get rather than what we need and what we
yeah, yeah,
deserve. And
yeah.
and even the conversations that we've had with them recently with the city of Toronto, we're talking about not only the actual built structure, the infrastructure,
Yeah.
talking about contingency plans, talking about wayfinding areas,
Yeah.
signage. It's all encompassing,
Yeah.
as you just talked about, Maddie. So
Yeah.
important. You know,
I,
we both have physical disabilities
yeah.
as well, and we know that, to a T. But
Yeah.
and also it's also important to have more of a enlightened vision for different
Yeah.
disabilities, as you talked about.
And I mean, some like I'm a combination. I'm an intersection of several different disabilities, and
Hmm.
I have sensory challenges as well as wayfinding challenges, as well as mobility challenges. And when I'm going to use Union Station as the greatest example of a hellscape that we have. One of the issues that, and we've talked about this many times, but I'm going to talk about a solution to the problem. But I'm going to first describe the
Perfect.
problem. Um, if you've been if it's the first time you're in there, and it has had a lot of construction, a lot of major changes in where and what things are. But anyways, if you're new there and you're in a wheelchair, trying to figure out where elevators are is a real challenge. Trying to figure out where bathrooms are is a real challenge. And why? They use the same accessibility symbol for both. But there are so many other bloody signs and electric things going on that it's sensory confusing. And I think one of the things that I want to start suggesting that people that businesses and construction do when they do doing things, have a blue line that leads you to elevators and washrooms, um, so that it's easy for, like, it doesn't have to be a continuous line, just like have every once in a while so that we have a general sense of where to go. Because especially when things get busy, it's really hard to navigate around people and figure out where you're going. And when you're when you're in a place like that, you're generally trying to get to another place, that so you can make a connection, and those connections have at particular times. The more confusion we have, then the harder it is to find things. The more stress we get because we're on a time limit trying to get to a place that's going to get us on board, which is a challenge in and of itself. I've seen something interesting done. Um, I can't remember whether it's in Toronto or it's in Ottawa, but there's a it must have been in Toronto. I'm going to say this, and maybe you can tell me if you've experienced this. But there's some at some places there's a definite, like a grooved path to elevators, from where the turnstile is to get in, and I found that really helpful as a visual, but also, you can feel it. I'm sure it would help people that are blind as well, or hard difficulty with sight, to be able to navigate to where the elevators are, because that's really the important thing for us. Like, there's a thousand other places we need to go to, but finding the elevators and getting to them is, you know, a big challenge because everything is built and done differently. So having some way of navigating to it. Again, people can have multiple disabilities. We don't just generally have one, and
Hmm.
the sensory issues, the sensory challenges, and being able to find your way in a while you're also physically mobility challenged. Oh, it's a hellscape.
Yeah, and you certainly make a lot of great points, Maddie. Having been through Union Station over the last few weeks, one of the things too that is the really poor color contrast, and when
Yeah,
lights reflect off of the numbers, and because they're silver plated with black numbers, so when the light reflects off it, you really don't have an idea as to where you're going. Not to
yeah,
mention, when there's people walking around, you're navigating the the people, and then you're also trying to find the numbers. So really, that idea of the blue strip along the ground, and maybe even
hmm,
just to further that point, Maddie, have a black lettering that says where it leads to. Just
yeah,
to kind of
yeah,
give more of an idea for the folks to navigate where we're
yeah,
going, and yeah, it's really beneficial.
yeah,
I know that, and then just even finding the proper exits. I know that, having been to Toronto a couple times in the last, month
Yeah.
and a bit, getting the exit to take Wheel-Trans from Front Street can be interesting.
Mhm.
The second time I got the right exit, but the first time I did not get the right exit. So there was this giant
Oh
hill
yeah.
that I had to
Yeah.
navigate up to get to where we were supposed to be, when I literally didn't have to even go over a hill because there's an elevator that leads to the doors where Front Street really starts, and that would have been a heck of a lot easier. But again, not having the proper
Yeah.
wayfinding
It,
signage to find out.
yeah. And I think um someday I'm going to figure out, maybe the next time I go on the train, I'll chat with the folks there, because I need to know who to. There's ways to. Okay, so we're all about solutions. We complain, we
Mhm.
rant, we experience things, and we share the troubles. But it's all, we don't do this in isolation. Like we're right now talking about, here are some solutions, because like the way things are significantly more challenging than the way Union Station was before they did all these changes and upgrades. I mean, the it's better in terms of the actual connecting to trains, buses, whatever, but the navigating the station is not designed around people with disabilities. It's designed around people who have no issues with sight, who love flashy signs on every single surface, for some reason. And it's like it's not difficult to navigate in an abled way. It's
Right.
like really there are natural paths to and fro places. There are natural exits. If you're flowing from one to another. But if you're trying to find a specific thing in the station, that's hard. And if you're trying to find the accessible things, they're just weirdly out of the way. Not where I would have
Mhm.
placed them at all. They're really, really out of the way.
Yeah.
I think the expression is off the beaten path. Um, so there are some solutions to that. And
Or in our case,
I,
off
I
the
think
cobblestone path.
yes, we follow the yellow brick road. We follow the yellow brick road. Let's clap our heels. We're not in Kansas anymore.
I mean, if
Toto,
your tires
you
can make
go.
it by the end of it.
So I'm Dorothy. You're Toto. Okay.
All right. If the tires can make it at the end of
I
the,
would wear the ruby shoes. So hey, actually, there's an
there's no
interesting
place
thing
like
about.
home. There's no place like home. There's no place like
Yeah,
home.
there's no
Yeah,
place like Rome. Oh, here I am.
yeah, guys. Once again, this is Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast. Anthony Frisina joined as always alongside Maddy Dever. If you guys are here, feel free to share some comments with us. Let us know what you think. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today because, quite frankly, it's been a while. Um,
Yeah.
what's been happening in your world, Maddy?
Well, April was Autism Acceptance Month, and I had a lot of things I was doing as part of that. We had the Canadian Autism Leadership Summit, which was a 3-day affair. First time in 3 years we did it in person in Ottawa, so that was really good to see people that I haven't seen at all, because a lot of the things I've got involved with during the pandemic. But it was really, really good to be able to spend some time in real life. Um, and it was it hit some accessibility challenges, because they had a ramp for me to the stage. But I had no on the first day. I had no way to access that ramp because the tables were too close together. Wasn't a problem because I wasn't speaking till day 3. We got that problem solved by day 3, but I'm like, oh my! Because I stepped in the day before, because I got in a day early, and I was looking. It's like, I think we need to pull the tables further apart, otherwise I can't get through. And they heard me, and they made it so that I was able to get to one table that first day, because the things are so close together. Somebody walked right in my wheelchair, and it jarred me, and I was like, I was in so much pain for the rest of that night. The
Access
next
to the
day,
access.
oh my god! The next day, a little bit more, a little more paths for me. Made sure that there's so in such a way that people would really have to completely be oblivious to smack the wheelchair. But the other thing is day two, I woke up with a lump on my arm that grew and grew and grew. And when I got home, it was a really bad infection in my shoulder. So I had a staph infection, and I spent 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks just dealing with that. So that wiped out most of the rest of April.
Don't worry.
Life with disabilities, right?
Coming in April 2024, Maddy Dever. And you know what though, Maddie? Like,
Oh yeah,
it begs the question.
yeah.
Let's build accessibility, but if you don't have access to the accessibility,
I know.
what good
I
is
know.
that? So that will more than likely bring us to our next point of conversation. One of our favorite topics that we'd like to talk about, Maddie.
I
Bring
believe.
it.
Are we talking about this?
Absolutely. Accessible
Are we talking about some
transportation.
experiences with this?
Oh, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Let's go. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So we had the ODSP rally at the end of April as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
I was so sick, I missed that. That's yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was disappointing.
Yeah, we missed you, but we all carried you with us in spirit, friend. Yes, exactly. So and in saying that, like even just for me getting there, because of the added time management, really takes a toll on you.
Hmm.
So, I got up pardon me, I got up at 4:30 in the morning to take darts at 6 to get to Aldershot GO station, to Union, to take Wheel-Trans to Queen's Park, and back in reverse. And I know, Maddie, you do that a lot of that kind of rigmarole. And talking about managing your time, Maddie, getting from point A to point B. Not only because the event itself was at 11, but I spent 5 hours literally trying to get there. And even like as things kind of progress throughout the day, you fatigue. And when you're a person with a disability, you kind of tend to fatigue maybe sooner than others because you're using a lot more physicality to your movements because you're compensating what other parts of your body can't do.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, um, getting back from uh, the ODSP rally, it actually wasn't darts this time. It was Wheel-Trans. Surprisingly, I don't. I'm shocked too. Just getting picked up from uh, Wellesley Street at the South Lawn, and then just going back to Union Station, an hour and a half. I get it. It's Toronto. It's busy, but an hour and a half. And I did draw and think about a lot of comparatives between what I'm used to here in Hamilton versus what Wheel-Trans does. And I've actually over the last week or so accessed Handyvan as well. So I kind of got to learn the different modes of transfer. Go fund me! That's amazing, right? And it begs the question. And it begs the question too. We talked about it, over a while now. That last year, having run for city council, it kind of, brings back a lot of what ifs. What would accessible transit be like if I was a successful candidate as part of city council?
If you had a
It's
magic
just
wand
what kind of
and you
movement?
can make it, yeah, yeah. What would your magic wand reveal in transit accessibility?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the ideal environment?
Yeah, what the ideal environment is getting from point A to point B with dignity and respect. And Maddie, at the end of the day, we talked about this quite often.
Mm-hmm.
But one person with a disability is one person with a disability. And understanding that we need to take a strengths-based approach to
Mm-hmm.
quality of life for all people.
Yeah.
Our needs are totally different. We have some similarities, but we have differences in terms of our needs
Yeah.
to
I
the way
can
other people.
motor about. Yeah, I can motor about. You have to use your hands. I can't use my hands, so I have to use the knob of a joystick. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
cup.
we have similar mobility needs, but we have different body parts that work and different body parts that don't work. And then we also have long hair to worry about flying in your face, and have to worry about that issue now.
I tell you, a couple of years ago when we were at the ODSP rally together, I remember
Mm-hmm.
hanging on the back of your wheelchair, Maddie, going for like spins. Let me tell you, it
Yeah.
was like that scene from Titanic. Come on, let's go.
Oh
It felt
yeah.
like
Yes.
with the hair
You felt,
breezing by.
yeah. You felt speed without having to take pills. Yeah.
Right, sure, let's go with that. um, yeah, but then it just kind of like begs the question, Maddie. Like you talked about it earlier, and I'm gonna repeat it.
Yeah.
It's nice to be listened to rather than just heard. Yeah, we hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we hear you. That's great. But what are you
Yeah.
going to do about it? Actions speak louder than words. The whole thing with transit and my bundle buggy is the most frustrating thing. I had to bring my bundle buggy with me to an event last week in Burlington, um, and then I had another event in Hamilton. So I brought it to Burlington's version of Dart, which is Handy Van. And the lady, without question, grabbed my bundle buggy, brought it up the vehicle, no questions asked. And I wanted to exactly, and I wanted to follow up with Wheel Trans just to find a. I wanted to follow up with Wheel Trans, and you're trying to screw me up, Maddie. It is working. And I wanted to follow up with Handy Van just to kind of see what their thoughts are on it. And they said today, well, we don't encourage our drivers, with bundle buggies. We appreciate that, and them doing that is a sign of kindness, a sign of good spirited support, as opposed to another organization where they would reprimand people for acts of kindness, and that's really the narrative here that really needs to be changed. Oh, he's up. Oh, you're up to something. You're up to something, Maddie. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're up to something. Like,
Okay. So
again,
one of the things that we both get really frustrated is when
yeah,
people talk about minimum
standards.
standards. Yes.
Standards.
Oh my gosh. Let me fix that because it's embarrassing.
That's okay.
Standards. There
Right,
we go.
minimum standards.
It drives me crazy. So when somebody doing something that helps you is being considered going out of their way, and it's a special thing, but it's a basic thing for us. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this is like the system is designed around minimum standards that don't reflect our minimum needs.
Hmm.
Our minimum needs are not covered under most minimum standards. And I'm gonna, I mentioned this before we had the live, that one of the things that I'm finding more and more an issue with are curb cuts. Like they're just like okay, so I'm in the midst of, every time I go to Toronto, I'm taking some point of view videos of me going through different areas, especially construction zones, and talk, sharing the experiences and the feelings that I have as I try to navigate Toronto. And um, I love it. The places where there've been recent road work, the curb cuts are great, usually. But sometimes the curb cuts don't make sense, because I where the curb cut looks like it has a part of it, about a third of it has a curb height that's way more than I can get onto. to actually get to the proper curb cut, I'm inevitably going to hit a post if I didn't go really, really, really slow. So like, there's just some things that like they look good, and the actual street part is okay, but the curb cuts, like it's like it looks right, so it's okay. I it's an area that um I'm seeing improvement, but there's so many curbs in Toronto that are like difficult to navigate, if not impossible. And sometimes I have to go back complete blocks just to get to it across the street to another point, so I can actually get past that. Um, and yeah, I've been focusing mostly on downtown Toronto, and I hope over the next 2 months, because I got about two, maybe three trips to Toronto that I'm going to be doing, and each of those, like the day before I have something to do, I'm focusing on going to a particular area, being a tourist, having an end destination in mind, but just videoing the navigations. But the curb cuts are just they're hard for me, and I'm in a motorized wheelchair. I can't imagine how complicated and painful they are for people in manual wheelchairs or
It's
strollers or walkers or canes or none of these devices, but having unsteady gait. Like it's I know they're trying to improve it, but Toronto's a huge city, and we're
Mhm.
I I I don't know. Um, I honestly feel that side, like fixing these sidewalk curb cuts, will go a huge way to to preventing injury. Because I know last year I was not able to arrange transportation with my motorized wheelchair, so I came back because I was asked to speak at a protest, and I came in my manual wheelchair with my 16-year-old daughter pushing me around. That was a challenge for her. It was a real challenge.
Mhm.
And at one point, she hit the curb cut, which she thought was the correct one, and slammed me, and I went flying out of the wheelchair. It was
No
very
seatbelt.
painful.
No seatbelt.
It's yeah. We don't have a
That's
seatbelt in the manual one.
that's
That was the
another
first time.
story. Wearing a seatbelt.
That was yeah. That was it.
There you go. Yeah, you're going fuzzy.
Yeah, yeah. I know I'm going fuzzy. I'm trying to fix that. Hello.
I swear, folks,
Got
I'm
it.
not drinking. Okay. No. Welcome to live. Um,
Usually this works.
abracadabra. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra!
Presto changeo. All right. So let's. Well, the point that okay. Nope. Okay, back and forth. Okay, so the point I wanted to kind of follow up with you on, Maddie, is um, like even those like little barricades that they have in like on Front Street. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember the term for them. But they tend to, help funnel the traffic away
Oh,
from the road, those barriers. Those things are a challenge
yeah.
to say the least.
Mm. Yep.
Um, so absolutely those and yeah, even okay, here's one that I saw
There we go.
on in Toronto when I was there. That is
I'm
right at
back.
the
I'm good.
beginning when you navigate around a curb cut. A post navigating around a curb cut. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Like like
befuddled.
in my own town, because the sidewalks are so challenging,
Mhm.
um, except on the main street, I tend to go on the road. Partially because the other issue I find with sidewalks, because we use cement for sidewalks and asphalt for roads. Asphalt can be go long place before there's a crack in it. There's an indentation. Whereas
Mhm.
concrete, it's like every meter or so, and uh, especially in the spring, as
Yeah, when you're
the
just getting
as
out of
the
the
weather
winter.
has unsettled, we're getting like it is. impossible for those concrete slabs to stay level after a year or two. By that, like in every year, it
Mhm.
just becomes more and more of a problem, and that's like I again, minimum standards.
And
Why
then
do we
when
use concrete? Because like it's great for pedestrians, but it's horrible for any kind of wheel. Period.
yeah, well, because there's a lot of focus on cosmetic versus actual
Yeah.
functionality.
Oh,
Like, going to minimum
and
standards. I mean, I
yeah,
couldn't price out what's more expensive versus another, asphalt or concrete. I'm
yeah.
not going to go there because I don't know
It's
the.
that's actually something that I want to get the answer to this summer. I want to have a meeting with our public works person and the mayor. 'Cause every time I talk to the public works, it's minimum standards, minimum standards. I don't actually get a conversation going. So like the politicians are aware that there's that those of us disabled folks are challenged by the system as it is. But like I really want to know, like, is it
We're
first of all,
also
have you ever
challenged.
talked? Yeah, have you talked to us about it? Like
Mhm.
I'm not part of the accessibility committee, and I kind of need to find out what is it they actually do. They have influence? Do they just
Mhm.
like are things brought to them beforehand or brought to them after? Um, but like why? Like we're starting to build little bike paths alongside of the things on some of the roads. Like okay, why? Like you're doing this because it's great for the wheels of cycles.
Mhm.
Why don't you just do it for everybody? Some
Yep.
municipalities like they just use asphalt everywhere, right? The other
It's the
thing that I
attitudinal
really
barriers.
love, yeah, the other thing that I really love is decorative crossings. They look so
Oh,
beautiful. Are so yeah, I love it very much. Okay, but it's horrible.
I've missed you, Maddie. It's been a while.
Yes,
Legion.
I'm a little, yeah,
Maddie
talkative.
Dever. Yes, absolutely. Like
Yeah,
even Maddie, like things like just the cobblestones. That you feel like you're on like
that's what I'm
like
talking about. Yeah,
ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. And then let's go back to transportation and vehicles. They have you on certain vehicles. I can at least I know this for Dars. Certain positions on the where they can put the cue strains down for you are on the freaking wheel well. Badoom, 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 badoom. And when Buddy was going
yeah.
like Mario Andretti a few weeks ago, I thought I was making a sunroof.
I there's some taxis that come pick me up. That I mean I go in their taxis from the rear. Some of them have no freaking shocks at all, and I'm like, but I'm hitting my head on the things, bashing into their sides. It's like, and I'm fully secured, but it's not enough to deal with the G forces that are going on in the back of the van. Oh, there goes the fuzz again. All right, I learned this time. Da 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 da. Wahoo! Come on, it just doesn't want me on today. I don't hear you now.
Yeah, there we go. And I don't know about you,
Yeah.
Maddie. I think it's a little bit condescending and demoralizing when you get put in through the back of a vehicle or you're situated at the back of the vehicle. Yeah, I mean, essentially you're being treated as cargo, and it's kind of it's
Yeah,
so bad, it's come on.
yeah,
That's where a
I
bundle buggy
know.
would
I mean,
go. I'm just saying.
oh,
It's
there I'm
like
back again.
there we go. Damn, we're back. But it's
Yeah.
just
Well,
so
yeah.
listening to people.
It
The lowest common denominator, as you talked about, Maddie.
yeah,
The minimum standards were not
yeah.
minimum standards.
I mean, it's like there's two ways of getting us in. There's the rear. There's
The side.
the side. Um, I mean, right now, I feel like I'll take whatever because my biggest issue is getting anything. Like, and I've said this before. We have in our small area, a small town in our county, we have one accessible taxi, and it is almost never available. I've been there's been about 6 times that I've tried to book it in the last 4 months, and I've got zero success. And I mean, I now have an alternative, but it's expensive, right?
Yeah,
It's really
and when you live on
it's
a fixed
expensive. So
income, that's
when
not
I'm
always.
paid when it's paid for, okay, fine.
Mhm,
But when I have to
mhm,
pay for it myself, I mean, God, I mean, it just means that there's a slew of other things that I can't do,
you
and
gotta get
I'm trying to
bang for your buck.
participate. Yeah, I'm trying to participate in the world as much as I can. Transportation is my number one barrier. Um,
Yep.
you know, it really is. And then when I go to an area that has accessible transportation and accessible transit, it's even then challenging to use it, and it's still expensive. I mean, we talked about a while ago. It's like, what's the ideal world if we had a magic wand that we could just change everything? And I'm going to use what I've used before in our lives, the Rick Hansen Foundation's motto: everyone, everywhere. Like,
Yep.
if you can book something as an able-bodied person, if you can book a car, you can book a taxi, you can get a bus, you can get on a train, you can get on a plane, that we, the disabled, should have the ability to do the same thing with accommodations.
Yeah.
It means that designing new things in a way that people with disabilities can also participate. I love the fact that Via Rail. I love Via Rail. They're they have a new fleet of trains that are coming out this fall or early winter, and right now there's one accessible place for you to come in on your motorized wheelchair. I believe they're going to have 6,
Oh
and
wow.
the
So
whole
they
train
are
will be
really taking.
accessible, including accessible bathrooms.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
No, that's really good.
huge change,
Yeah,
huge change.
and then speaking like just kind of being able to do things more on demand. Oh, you're fading it out on me again, Maddie. So I took screenshots of my phone. I call Handyvan in Burlington. I got through to somebody within 2 minutes. I call Wheel Trans in Toronto. I was got through to somebody within 5 minutes. Finished the conversation a minute later from both calls.
Good.
45 minutes for darts. I could have breakfast and make lunch, do a load of laundry while I'm waiting for somebody to pick up the phone on the other line. Come
Yeah,
on, we got to be better than this. We've got to be better than this. Right. Hammer down. It's time to put the hammer down. And you
yeah,
talked about something, Maddie, earlier about having that conversation and being heard, being listened to.
yeah.
This is about dignity, respect, autonomy, agency, and independence
Mhm.
of all persons. And it's about time that we are actually heard and listened to. And we are the largest minority group uh, in the world, and our voices deserve to be listened to. The quality of life for everyone could prosper. Going back to what I talked about earlier, Maddie, when I had those that event in Burlington and then I had the
Mhm.
event in Hamilton, I presented to the public engagement community practice team, and guess who was on the call, Maddie? Transit, all encompassing transit. And we have another
Ah,
event
cool.
happening. We have another event happening this Thursday that I'm hopefully going to attend if Darts will allow me because everything's now on a waiting list. And then we don't. You know what? It's like it's hurry up and wait. It's hurry up and wait.
Oh,
Sorry, man. Hurry up and wait from the context of well, they ask you to book 7 days in advance, and then they
yeah,
don't confirm your rides the day before. It's like
yeah,
yes, we want to be able to do things spontaneously, but there's also times that we
yeah.
need to plan things.
I,
It's
I,
kind of
I,
like, well, you're getting the
yeah.
spontaneity now, but you're not ready for that.
I experienced that last week. I needed to have a doctor's appointment the next day. Again, just to check things out, make sure my shoulder was healing because there were some questions about it, and they got me a next day appointment. Tried to calling our medical transportation, couldn't do next day. Just couldn't fit it in. So it's like I had to take taxi. Like I had to put out money that ODSP will hopefully pay back. I have a new worker. She's it's I have to, it's a re-education process again. Um, that's another thing. ODSP workers, there are many of them that are awesome.
Mhm.
But the biggest issue I have is there. Um, it's really a crapshoot what they know and what they're experienced with.
Mhm.
Like there's some that like know all of the ways to support us the most beneficial way. There's some that know about self-employment and can help you with that. And then there's others just like they don't have that experience. So like it's you're starting from scratch with them. And I, it's not their fault. They are not there's a lack of knowledge sharing and education, and part of it is I understand like they have too much of a work every day. It's they get more caseloads added for the same or fewer number of workers, but they're one of the simplest ways to make the lives of people on ODSP better is to have better trained workers that all know the same things and like refer to a wiki of extended knowledge of things because it's really frustrating um that and I know so many people share things where they've been rejected by ODSP for this or that and but the regulations don't say that these things should be refused, but people don't know or don't have the energy to appeal them. But the reason why we have to appeal these things is again because there is no common database that workers have, or at least I'm not aware they have one because it doesn't seem they do, so that they can apply similar um, um, they can apply similar things based on similar experiences that other workers have come up against. It's like there's so many different things wrong with ODSP, but that's not what we were starting to talk about. I just it went around that because
Mhm.
yeah, the issue is like when when we don't have transportation systems that are working for us, we really have to get to a place. Sometimes we have to do things out of order and pay for things that are um larger out of pocket because we still need to do these things because if we don't like my doctor's appointment for example that's not something I can miss. My health is you know as somebody with
Mhm.
disabilities and somebody who's diabetic, severely diabetic, little things become big things really quickly. And my doctor is in a different town 20 minutes from me. I have to get there. My wheelchair will not. I don't think my wheelchair will get me there, or if it did, it wouldn't get me back. I have thought
Absolutely.
about trying it. It's is I have thought about trying that, but I shouldn't have to, you know. And it's still
No.
that would take like 2.5 hours in my wheelchair. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? And next best thing, Maddie, is maybe secure yourself a bungee cord. I think they're available at the dollar store. Grab a vehicle, hold on, and just let's go. You know what I mean? Like I've
Yeah.
done that. I've done that.
Yeah.
Mind you, in my youth, I haven't done that for
Yeah. That's
years. I just yeah,
I've seen people do that with wheelchairs and bikes.
yeah.
I've never been that adventurous. I would let people
Ah,
bungee
okay.
off of me, like yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. I've hang on. Yeah. So no, I'm just hey, just an option. If our options are limited, I mean, sometimes we got to go above and beyond. Pun intended.
Yes, very good, very
Pun
very
so
very good.
intended. It has been a while, friend. Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
I guess, Maddie, throughout all our discussions, um, what's next?
Well, it's May. We do know at the end of May is Accessibility Week. So
Yes,
we're gonna
indeed.
try. Last year we did a live a day
Yep.
and put them all up on YouTube, and I think that would be really cool to try to do again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll have to look at our schedule, but that's something to look
I'm
forward
down
to.
to do that. I'm
Yeah,
down to do that. Have a different topic that we talk about. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure transportation will be one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see what the
Absolutely.
theme is this year, and we'll wrap a schedule over around the 7 days.
Yeah,
It was
and
really
what I'd
fun
love
doing it
to do
last year.
is talk to you about ODSP, and I think if we're not close to uh, the government promising that ODSP is going to be indexed to inflation now.
Yeah,
If you want to talk
it
to
is.
that,
That's
talk
part
about that.
that's in the law. That's in the law now.
Okay, so when does that start?
My understanding, it's July. So it's
July.
that is my understanding. That I'm not 100% clear, but that is my understanding, and I believe that the new rates take effect October 1st. But some people think it takes that the indexing and the new change takes effect July 1st.
Mhm.
We'll see. The one thing that we can rely upon with this government is for communication to be absolutely crystal clear, and that was sarcasm.
Sorry, what?
101.
Yeah, I know exactly. All right,
Oh,
Maddie. Well, it is about that time again. I appreciate you. Anything going on with you next week before we sign off for the with the viewers and listeners?
I'm there's a lot of things that I'm involved with behind the scenes, but I have some really good things coming out with my company, Autistic Bridge Inc., that will be unfolding over the next 6 weeks. That I think are going to be, again. It's more focused in the autism sphere. My real hope this year is to find ways of better supporting families, so that they can better support their children, but also find a way of supporting autistic adults. So there's some really neat stuff that's coming up that I will be really looking forward to talking about probably later in May, early in June. So
I
a lot
know,
of behind the scenes stuff that I'm doing.
and I'm gonna cue this up for you now, Maddie, because last time we had it, you had it perfect, but it was on a Wednesday. So Above and Beyond airs tonight,
Oh, yeah.
8:30 p.m. on Cable 14
Yeah.
and cable14.com. My interview with Nicole Burrows Bolton, a human rights lawyer at Rossa McBride. Check it out, 8:30 p.m., airing different times throughout the week. On Tuesdays, 3:30 a.m., 11 a.m., and 11 p.m. Friday or Saturdays at 8:30 and noon, and Sundays at 1:30 a.m. and 5 a.m. So check it out. We've got Nicole Burrows Bolton on for the next little while, and I am taping my interview with my next guest this week. I have Kevin Collins from Easter Seals, President and CEO of Easter Seals. We are going to talk about the
Ah,
gala, which I was able to attend this year.
mhm.
Wouldn't have missed it for the
Yep.
world. Met so many great people. Know a guy
Yep.
very well that's heavily involved with Easter Seals, named Andrew Nielsen. What a great guy. Works with Todd Stevens. Fantastic guy. You know what? We've got a lot going on. And this weekend is So Hungry. Good on you. It's coming to Hamilton, guys. From 11 a.m.
Woo!
to 8 p.m. I will be down there with the Ontario Disability Coalition, with Sherry Caldwell, with Good on You. We are going to be there selling merchandise to support the initiatives that take place with the Ontario Disability Coalition.
Mhm.
Can't wait for that. I've got my books there. Uh, everything is going to be there. Guys, had a couple of events, sold a lot of books over the last little while. Got to a lot of great events. Crazy busy with a lot of stuff going on. But you know what? It
Yeah.
keeps me going, and it keeps us going. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Maddie, but I think a lot of what I do helps mask, certain pains and discomforts that I'm in.
Oh yeah.
I use like
Oh
a
yeah.
mind over
Definitely.
matter mentality, and
Yeah.
it's something that works for me.
Yeah, if I'm
yeah,
not busy doing things, then I'm not. Then I'm very much focused on the things that I can't do. So I
exactly.
have and two other things right now. May is Mental Health Month, and
Hmm.
the May 31st, speaking of Easter seals, is Red Shirt Day.
Red shirt day. So wear your red shirts on May 31st, guys. It's a
Yeah,
great day.
you're a little early for that today.
Right. Yeah, right. A little bit now. In a couple weeks, guys. Get your red shirts. You can go over to Walmart. You can go over to where you go to get your red shirt.
Yeah,
Get a red shirt for Red
I
Shirt
can wear
Day.
my
May
Ottawa
5th.
red black shirt.
Oh.
So you and I are you're this summer. My mission is to go to Hamilton and watch the Red Blacks play the Hamilton, whatever they're called, Ticats. The joke here is that my dad got drafted to play for the Ticats, so Hamilton's got a special place in our heart. But my uncle played for Ottawa, and I live in Ottawa, so yeah, we're definitely in Ottawa. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, well, we should actually
You
have a
remind me
wager.
of my
Whichever team
ex-girlfriend,
wins,
Maddie.
we'll wear the opposite shirts on the
I
next
ain't doing
live.
that again. No, I'm not doing that. I did that with
Yeah,
one guy. I did that with that. We ain't making that bet. That's not official. That bet is not happening. But I made
yeah.
that bet with a Toronto Argonaut fan several years ago, and it pops up in my Facebook feed September 30th every
Uh huh.
year, and I send it to him every year, and we get it going. His name is Darson. Great guy, great guy. I dated an Argo fan way back when, and let me tell you, she bought every other team's jersey just to spite me. The only jersey that she did not buy was the Montreal Alouettes jersey. But every time we went to a Ticats game at home, I was there with my Ticats, and then she was there with the other jersey. Oh, it was hilarious, but I don't I don't miss those days.
It'll be really interesting. You and like what you and I can do is we can do several lives during the game. We can live tweet our experience of
we can do
watching.
a lot of things.
Yeah,
We can do a
exactly.
lot of things. So
Yeah,
that'll be exciting. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, good on you. Speaking of Ticats, training camp starts this Sunday. I can't wait to go at McMaster University. Can't wait to be there on Sunday. I was at the Ticats draft party this past week. Great to reconnect with all the fans and the families and all that stuff and cheerleaders. Amazing time. Friends with the Ron Joyce Children's Health Center cheer squad. That's been ongoing. We have our first event June 3rd, which is the McMaster Walk and Wheel. Come join us. Come watch me cheer with my cheer friends.
yeah.
I can't wait.
Well,
So
I'll be in Toronto on I think Sunday, June 4th. Autism Speaks annual walk. I'll be doing that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of different things.
All right, Maddie, throw up that graphic.
I'll throw up the graphic.
All righty. So thank you guys for joining us. As always, you can catch us at Above and Beyond the Podcast at gmail.com. If you have any ideas, anything you want us to talk about, feel free to reach out. I'm at Above and Beyond. Anthony Frisina at Above Beyond for you on Twitter. And the first one was on Facebook. At Anthony_Frisina on Twitter as well for my personal page. AnthonyFrisina.ca. Maddie's at Matt J. Dever on Twitter and AutisticRambler.com. We are here every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us. We have a lot of fun. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.